Well, hi Roger, and thanks for talking to Racing Webs again, but it doesn't seem like over a year ago that we were doing this interview, and I was congratulating you on a wonderful season, but it seems to me you've done better than last year.
Yeah, I think in some terms we definitely have. Just about the same number of winners, but the prize money this year was a load better, which was encouraging from a background where prize money, as we know, unfortunately has dropped a bit, generally speaking. And I think we were aided much by the older horses that we had that really ran incredibly consistently from April through to the end of the year and contested some of the better races.
So what was the total prize money? Where did you come in the trainers list this year?
I think we were 21st, but I think it's fair to say that there isn't a single trainer above us on that list that ran as few horses as we did. They all, in fact, ran more horses to achieve the prize money. And I think the last time we got to this amount of total prize money, which included over £300,000 abroad, was 8 years ago, 2003, something.
So let's have a talk about some of the horses that got you there. And the first one that comes to mind is Cityscape. He's done well. Can you tell me a bit about him?
Yeah, he's a wonderful friend. He's been consistent. He's running Group 1s and Group 2s and Group 3s. He was narrowly beaten at Royal Ascot. He was beaten a short head in a Group 1 in Milan, breaking the course record. He had 2 easy races in Group 3 level, one at the Curragh and one at Saint-Cloud more recently. And he's never been out of the money except once this year, and he's a really tough, good, consistent miler.
And I believe you're off to Hong Kong next week, so we're obviously a little bit early on the interview there, but hopefully I'll be able to bring a video of that if it's winning and show people there. So that must be quite exciting to go to Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's a great trip. They look after you fantastically well. The horse is much more mature mentally now, so I hope he copes with the sort of 22 hours travelling. And I think, he has a fair chance of getting in some good money.
Yes.
Flag is up. Extension, the hot pot favourite. And they're off and racing. Fat Choy stumbled out of the gates. At Whiteout, Sichuan Success has come out running. So did Able One, Flying Blue. Beauty Flash beaten for speed, and Apapane gets past him. Jimmy Choo and the Red settles midfield. Then Extension, Suppressor. Destined for Glory, Cityscape caught 4 wide. Then Fat Choy Ulala from Outdoor Pegasus. Jabawi Gold switched off. Raj's Man is last. Olivia Deleuze pressed the button on Flying Blue, and he really scoots along in the lead now. He's got way too much speed for Able One and Beauty Flash. Then Jimmy Choo, White got out nicely on Sichuan Success. He's got to sit now and cover as they go into the first turn. The Japanese filly Apapane's caught 3 wide. Then Destined for Glory on the inside of the short price favourite Extension. Surpresses 3 wide down the side of the course. Cityscapes 4 wide. Further back in the red blinkers to Fat Choi Ulala from Outdoor Pegasus to Bowie Gold 3 wide. Rada's Man starting to improve as they travel to the turn. And Deleuze is ensured that the pace is genuine in this year's mile. It's Flying Blue on the corner, 3 lengths to Able One. Beauty Flash off the bridle in third. Jimmy Choo travels well, comes off the fence. Further back to Sichuan Success, Apapane, Cityscape and Bowie Gold running on as Able One quickly heads off Flying Blue. Jimmy Choo runs on, so does Sichuan Success. Beauty Flash still there. Jimmy's run his race by the looks of it. Able One's the leader, 1.5 lengths to Bowie Gold. Cityscape keeps coming. This has been a big effort. Able One in front of Cityscape. Extension late. Able One in front. Able One takes out the mile at 9 years of age. Able One staved off Cityscape and Extension. Then
and of course the old favourite Jenky was very unlucky. He missed out on a few group races this year, but did very well. He did win his group race, didn't he?
Yeah, he won a group race at Newcastle earlier in the year. He's been very consistent. He's getting a little older now, of course, but he's gives his owners a huge amount of pleasure, and hopefully will be back to fight again next year.
And they're off and running. Jenky slowly away. Perhaps he was blasted by that giant roar from the crowd as they started this Chip Chase Stakes. And first away is Eton Rifles ahead of Winker Watson, and then Secret Witness in third place. The favourite, Regal Parade, in the white and blue, right in behind them, racing alongside Rain Delayed. And on the outside, Doncaster Rover. Waffle, who was produced late for that second place at Royal Ascot last week, is held up again today, and Jenky is the back marker still. They've covered the first 2.5 furlongs here, towards halfway. Eton Rifles as they come right the way down the middle of the track, pursued by Secret Witness. Then comes Regal Parade, who's just chased along now to get a little bit closer. Rain Delayed on the wide outside with the noseband. Under pressure is Doncaster Rover. Waffle and Jenky both go well, but still a length or two off the pace. And now pushed along is Winker Watson as they now dash for the final furlong. And here Regal Parade's got only a narrow lead, hasn't shaken them off by any means. Coming back again, Doncaster Rover. Jenky over on the far side. Waffle trying to pick up, but looking laboured now as they head to the closing stages. It's Jenky and Doncaster Rover who take over. They're absolutely together. They hit the line as one. Jenky and Doncaster Rover, and they were clear of Regal Parade, who ultimately had to battle for third place with Waffle and Eton Rifles snapping at his heels. Tight finish to the Chip Chase Stakes.
The other horse that did really well for you was Sea of Heartbreak, and again won a group race.
Yeah, she's a lovely filly, and belongs to a smashing lady whose husband unfortunately died last year, but she's decided to keep her another year. And we had some great trips. She won a Group 2 at Longchamp on the day before the Arc de Triomphe, and we travelled to Woodbine with her, and she was beaten a whisker for 4th place in the E.P. Taylor Stakes. And she's a very tough and consistent filly, goes on any sort of ground. And as a 5-year-old, there's some wonderful races for her, not only back in France, but really Woodbine, Japan, California, all over the place, where I hope that we can make her, if she can't win a Group 1, that she will be placed in a Group 1 race and will probably appear in the December sales in 2012. And it's really nice to have those sort of tough fillies that compete at the top level.
Dropping backwards and forwards, so they haven't started a race yet, so it is a tactical race. What do you think?
Yes, it is. I don't think we're going to see any special times from this, even with a quick ground. I'd say Frankie's going quite nicely up front, and that was obviously a planned move. And I wonder whether the Shamanova, the hot favourite, is going quite as well back in 4th, but we'll see any time now.
She's there with a chance if she can quicken, but they're all going to quicken in a moment. Christophe Lemaire will be ready for that as Madeira comes down now towards the false turn into the straight, about 650 metres or so from home. Madeira then by 2 lengths from Miss Chrissy in second, same distance back to Sea of Heartbreak, and then Shamanova. Still, it's single file as they race down now towards the turn for home, and still no change in the order. Madeira by 2 lengths, Miss Chrissy in second, Sea of Heartbreak third, Shamanova 4. Shamanova now has really got to quicken up, because she's got 6 or 7 lengths to make up, and she's only got about 400 metres left to do it. So it's Madeira still lying nicely on the bridle, and then comes Miss Chrissy on the bridle. Still got, remember, it's the second winning post. Madeira, Miss Chrissy, Sea of Heartbreak, Shamanova now being asked to quicken up as they come down past us now, and it's Madeira being joined by Miss Chrissy, the 3-year-old, on the outside. Then comes Sea of Heartbreak in third. Shamanova surely can't get there, but Madeira just hanging on. Miss Chrissy, Madeira, Miss Chrissy, it's going to be very close indeed. Miss Chrissy, Madeira, Sea of Heartbreak, I think, is going to get there in the end. Sea of Heartbreak comes and win it with a nicely timed run, beautifully ridden by Olivier Pellier, but Sea of Heartbreak has run it for Roger Charlton.
Yes. And talking about tough horses, Bated Breath, I mean, what a great horse you've got there, and how unlucky you were there as well.
Yeah, he half-brother to Cityscape, and they're sort of competing in terms of prize money. I think they've nearly won the same amount each. They've both been endlessly placed in Group 1s, and hopefully a Group 1 victory is not far around the corner. His effort at Haydock in the Haydock Sprint was extraordinary, really. It really was the narrowest margin that he was beaten. A lot of people thought we'd won. The television thought we'd won. And I think if the race had been 10 years ago, with less sophisticated camera equipment, maybe it would have been a dead heat. But being second is not really good enough. We need to win one. He's been wonderfully consistent. He's I've always thought he's probably the best sprinter I've ever had, and I still think so. He goes to Hong Kong, and if he can't lift a Group 1 this year, then I hope he will do next year.
I don't think he ever really got his ground though, do you? Was there a time last year where he got the perfect ground?
Well, it's difficult to argue that, really. I think Woodbine, it was definitely too soft when he was second. In the Arctic Stakes, which is a sort of new Group 1 race for them.
They're off in the Arctic Stakes, and the filly Bewitched missed the break. Regally Ready bounded out of there. Regally Ready to take the lead. Fiddler's Patriot down to the inside in a second position. Then Grand Adventure, and in between horses is Riding the River. To the extreme outside is a Gypsy Ring, and they're running through the turn, and they're chasing Regally Ready, who leads at a length and a half. Fiddler's Patriot is a second. To the extreme outside is a Gypsy Ring. Riding the River is in between horses. Then a Grand Adventure and a Fatal Bullet. Bated Breath in contention and out of trouble. Then Yield, Bogey, and Hitchens. A Right One and Jenny So Great. Bewitched trails this field as they come over to the top of the stretch and then the Arctic, and they're 2 furlongs out. Down on the inside it is a Regally Ready. On the outside a Gypsy Ring. Velasquez asking Fiddler's Patriot at the rail. Bated Breath rallying down the center of the course. And it's Regally Ready still in front as they come to the 16th hole. Bated Breath, Gypsy Ring in between horses. This is going to be close. Final 70 yards. Regally Ready. Regally Ready in a win photo with Bated Breath. I think Regally Ready got it. Might have ran them ragged. Regally Ready, Bated Breath, and Gypsy Ring.
Haydock, it was pretty fast, although Steve Drown said that it can never be fast enough for him. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I hate making excuses for horses.
Yes.
But he's pretty good, and we'll keep at it.
Definitely didn't quite win his. Is it he or is it?
Yeah, no, definitely he's a good old gelding. His owners bred him as well and live fairly locally, so they see a lot of him. And we've had trips to Ireland, 2 trips to France. He won in a group race last year in France. He's been placed in endless group races this year. So he's certainly covering his costs, and he's having fun, and he stays in training. So from their point of view, with relations to him, as long as he can keep building black type, it's a really good.
They're off. And Knock Stars just gave them a few lengths. Rock Jock wasn't that smartly into stride either. So taking them along, Definitely leads, being followed by Empowering. Crease Sultan, Dawn Eclipse and the Grey Arctic right in between horses. They're being followed by Rose Bonheur. Towards the left is Knock Stars, and they're being followed by Rock Jock and Bewitched, who settled in the back marker. As they race on definitely on the near side, the leader for Steve Drown, Arctic the Grey and Pat Smullen, Empowering and Joseph O'Brien third. They're followed up by Crease Sultan, Niall McCullough in fourth. And then comes Rock Jock. Racing on now, and it's definitely on the rail who's the leader from Arctic, Empowering. They're being followed by Rose Bonheur, Knock Stars towards the left. Racing on now with a little over a furlong to go, and it's definitely pressed by Empowering, Arctic in between them, Dawn Eclipse, Bewitched trying to make ground just behind them with Chris Sultan. Racing now towards the final 200 yards, and on the near side, definitely Bewitched now coming through on the far side, in between them Empowering, and it's Bewitched and Johnny Murtha who lead. Definitely second, Crease Sultan third, Empowering, Dawn Eclipse, Arctic, Rock Jock, Knock Stars, Rose Bonheur.